Good morning, everybody. So listen, it would not be anything related to FOI if there were not some technical difficulties this morning. So as usual, although listen, we're in a new year, but I still think that technology is going to play a big role, and it's a curse and a blessing. So
yeah, I think I brought the technical difficulty.
Yeah, but that's okay. We don't ever throw anybody under the bus.
I'll do that myself.
So for those of you that are just joining us for the first time, my name is Heidi Foy. I am with Foy Real Estate. And today I have Josh Kalinowski, who's with Coldwell Banker, the Legacy Group. We are kind of starting something new in that, well, new again. So I started this last year where we did a Q&A Thursday. And we talked to many different professionals about different things in the real estate market. And this time we're going to do it again, but we're going to talk real estate, remodels, and anything remotely close. So it's really broad for a reason, because you really can only talk about real estate so much, or then you just start to be repetitive. So we're going to start hopefully to get some new things and cycle through. So we're going to start with today a little bit of a recap, like what the heck was that, and where are we going in the future?
So we're going to talk about real estate, right?
Yes.
The recap. What the heck? Because there was a lot of things that happened last year outside of the realm of real estate. But it was quite an interesting year. You know, depending on where you're at in the market and location in our country, you were probably affected by it really differently. You know, of the Midwestern states out here, we were affected, but not as much. If you were in those very coastal regions, you were tremendously affected by this. The real estate market was healthy throughout the entire country, though. You'll see numbers out there that were dramatically better than we anticipated, of course, going into what was this unforeseen, unknown COVID era that we found ourselves in. I would say regionally, though, here within the Casper community, and this is more particularly why we're going to talk about the small market that we have here, it was a very healthy year. You saw our volume up, which is the amount of sales that were happening, residential, commercial, multifamily. That was up 10% from a very healthy 2019. We really kind of got out of our recession that we had been in for about 3 or 4 years. And so we had a very healthy 2019. So we really grew on that by 10% in 2020, you know, amidst all of the issues that were going on. Interesting statistics on this, though, is that our commercial part of our industry was down 30%. So for us to be up 10% in volume and down 30% in volume when it comes to our commercial side of it, meant that we were up 40% in the other sectors. One of the powerful sectors that were really, really healthy for us was the multifamily. That was up 25%. So we saw some really great numbers out there, and a lot of these other factors that were helping a thriving community that we saw ourselves in. Of course, obviously, there were definitely some industries that were hurt by this pandemic and are continuing to be hurt by this pandemic. But we also saw a lot of industries that went really well and that survived, and they thrived in this environment. So those that adapted did really well. Those that didn't and didn't change, they suffered through this last year. We're anticipating a very good year. We've already started off with a very healthy start in the beginning of the year. Commercial has really started to pick up. We've started to see more of the investors coming into that particular area, which is always good. That'll bleed down. That'll trickle down into those other areas. The multifamily and even the rental market is just tremendously healthy right now. We're at about a 99% occupancy right now. So I mean, less than 1% vacancy on those units. So we've started to see an increase in our monthly rents. And of course, obviously, inventory is extremely low. So it's very tough for tenants to be moving from one place to the next, or to even upgrade to a certain point, right? So that's why you're seeing a lot of the people that are renting going into the purchasing side of things. Plus also with interest rates as low as they are, historically, they're just phenomenally low. You're seeing them take advantage of these very low interest rates and purchasing because they can buy much cheaper than they can actually kind of rent.
Yes.
So you've got a lot of great factors that are out there that are allowing people to purchase properties, to purchase rental incomes, properties, and then obviously if you have a business or an industry that you're in that you are starting to advance in that and start to grow in it, you're also seeing some really good opportunities to purchase commercial buildings as well too. So overall, a very, very healthy market, and a very healthy market that we're going to get into. So we're very excited about what's going to come to 2021 for us.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the questions that I keep getting, we're kind of backtracking to 2020, but I get the question a lot, like what drove the market last year? We talk about we saw a lot of layoffs. Oil and gas is our primary industry in Wyoming. And there was a pretty big shutdown. While it's not completely shut down, there's still some business going. But, when people ask me that question, what is driving the market? What's your opinion on that? Because the only thing I can think is it's so affordable to be financed right now with the interest rate so low. Like, people are kind of pulling the trigger, even if maybe they're not quite ready, but they're able to do it because of the interest rates. What's your take on that?
Well, I think it's a really great question. And I don't know if I necessarily have the answer, but I will tell you I have an opinion about what the answer might be. If you look across the board, this was a really different type of economic disaster that we found ourselves in. Anytime, especially within our community, because we're such oil and gas driven community, we haven't had any assistance from the government. It's always been oil prices dropped through the floor, and they just massively laid off people, and people went to other regions of the country, and nothing was going on. Like, nobody was buying cars, nobody was purchasing properties, nobody was investing. Well, this one was different because we had such government interference with it. Are we still connected? We good?
Yep, we're good.
So we had government interference, and I say not in a bad way, but we just had the help. We had the PPP. We had unemployment, plus we were getting an additional $500 a month on top of that. So there were a lot of people that did get laid off, and they were making more money on unemployment than they were if they were actually working, which was causing a different type of an effect as well too. So for when employees were actually hiring back people, they couldn't find them because they were making more money. Why would you go work a full 40-hour job if you're making more money, sitting at home, taking care of your family, right? Now, there's some, ethical things that we want to talk about in that part of it. But, people were making money. They weren't just literally home without making any income at all, right? I think PPP really helped a tremendous amount of businesses as well, too. I will tell you that every one of our businesses that we submitted for the PPP loans is much healthier now because of that loan or because of that PPP money that was given to the companies. So we were able to continue to keep all of our employees hired. We were able to even expand. We were able to do renovations. We were able to do certain things that we wouldn't have been able to do in a typical recession. So because of all of those things, you started to see this consumer confidence. Spending went down too. People have more money in their savings. This has been the largest amount of savings per person that we've had in our American history. And so you've seen that. You see credit card debt has been down as well too. So people have started to be a little bit more fiscally responsible. They really started to cut some of those expenses, and they started to really, just like they did back in 2008, 2009, after that recession, they really started to get rid of their debt, consolidate a lot of their debt. And I think that's why you're seeing the success that we've had in a lot of the industries that were affected.
Right, great. So one of the things that we talk about on our side of the market and being in the business side of real estate is a buyer's market and a seller's market. Yeah. So I'm not gonna let you answer that question because we're gonna need to answer some more questions in the future. So thank you so much for coming on. Hey, you guys, thanks for joining us. Our goal is to keep them short and sweet, but give you as much information. I feel like we just drank from the fire hose with that. We're gonna have to rewatch this one. So I want to thank everybody that is joining us live. And if you're watching the replay, please comment and we'll come back and answer your questions. You guys have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week.